All right, guys. So welcome back to Everything Business. All right. Today we're going to be looking at, today I'll be looking at question 2 of the 2022 accounts past paper. All right. Now, question 2 would be in nature a little bit more difficult than question 1. And if you haven't seen my video on question 1, right, then you need to check it out. There will be a tile there somewhere. All right. So let's get right into it. So it says, well, question 2, as a matter of fact, is a receipts and payment account question. So if you haven't seen receipts and payment, if you haven't done receipts and payment as yet, you may not understand some of the terminologies and some of the things that will be happening. But it's a combination of receipts and payment and bank reconciliation. So it's a type of it's a weird question if you ask me. But let's look at it. It says that the treasurer of Surrey Youth and Sports Club has listed the following details about the club's affairs for the year ended the 30th of April. I apologize for the blurriness right there, right? So we are given the information, right, about the club's affairs. So we have subscriptions, refreshments bought, for the club members. We have club staff wages, rental income, secretarial and administrative expenses, ground maintenance expenses, social evening costs. We have clubhouse repairs, and we have social evening ticket sales, right? They provide us with additional information, right? So the cash that we have at the bank, right, at the start of the period, it was $2,045, and they have overdrawn in bracket. Now, the fact that they have overdrawn in bracket, what they are basically telling us is that the account is overdrawn. So it's a bank overdraft, right? So you should know how to deal with that, all right? So use the form provided on page 9 to create the club's receipts and payments account for the year ended the 30th of April 2022. And they said that we should clearly identify the closing balance for the start of the new year. All right. So here we are. So this is really the form that they provided. This question is 8 marks, right? It's fairly simple. This part of the question is fairly simple. For those of you who may not know, receipts and payments account are accounts that non-profit organizations use, right? And the receipts and payments account, it is really the cash book. So in a profit-making organization, we would call it a cash book. But in a non-profit making organization like a church or a club, right, you would call it a receipt and payment account, right? But it's the same concept, right, as the cash book. Whatever you receive, you debit, and whatever you're paying out, your credit, right? Therefore, if there is a bank overdraft, remembering the principle of the cash book, right? If there's a bank overdraft, then it would mean that your opening balance would have to be on the credit side because it's an overdraft, right? So I start off with my heading here. Heading is important. It's a bit blurry though, right? It is how it was scanned. And then if you look on the credit side here, I have my balance brought forward, which is the 2,045. And you may ask, sir, where you get that from? Right? It's right here. See, it had said that at the beginning of the period. Yeah, right? And so it's overdrawn, so it's going to be on the credit side, or it's supposed to be on the credit side. All right, so I can go ahead now and record my debit items, or the items that would be on the debit side, which would have been the items that the monies that you receive, right? And if you look through the listing here, you would realize that subscription is an income, right? So you're getting subscription. So money is coming into the business. Subscription is really dues, right? For those who may not know, in receipts and payments are in accounts for non-profit making organizations. Subscription is really the dues. So members will pay dues to the club or, yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's subscription. That's a receipt, right? So you're receiving it. So you put it on the debit side. And then you have rental income, and then you have social ticket sales. Social ticket sales is like when they have sometimes non-profit making organization, they will have events, fundraising events. You understand? So the social is a fundraising event, so they have to sell the tickets for the social. So they are receiving that money, So all of these are income. So you put them on this side over here. So the receipts side. And then the payment side, you put all the payments there. Refreshment, you have to pay for refreshment, club staff wages, secretary, and admin expenses, ground maintenance expense, social event costs, clubhouse repairs. All of these are monies that you are spending, therefore they will be on the payment side. All right, they'll be on the payment side. And then simply all you do now is to balance off the account. You find the difference between the both sides. This is simple double entry balancing off. You balance off the account, the balance carried down, right, is 3,695, right? And you put your totals there. And for that, you got 8 marks. So that was pretty simple. The next part of the question, right? It says on the 30th of April 2022, the treasurer of Surrey Youth and Sports Club presented the club's financial team with the following information, right? So they presented the bank statement balance, right? Which is 2,125. And then they have right here the 30th of April, the receipts and payments book balance, right, which is not given, right? And then they give us some information here. So they said discrepancies between the two records were discovered as follows. So item A, the bank statement showed that some subscription payments were paid directly at the bank by club members, and these payments were not recorded in the receipts and payments account. That was $200. B, payment of a check was recorded twice in the bank statement. That was for $400. So C, it says insurance premium for the club, which was paid by the bank as per instructions, had not been recorded in the receipts and payments account. And D says a check previously received from M Vital was dishonored by the bank. E says bank charges had not been recorded in the receipts and payments account, $80. And then F says that a check for $740 issued to S. Carter for catering services was recorded in the receipts and payments account as $470. Then the first part of the question says, state which of the discrepancies above match the two terms in the following table by writing the corresponding item letter from the table above in the spaces provided in the table below. So basically what is happening here, they give us some errors that were made, right? And this reminder of correction of errors, not true. So how much topic we look at already? So they're testing our receipts and payments knowledge. They're testing our correction of errors knowledge, and they're testing our bank recon knowledge, 3 topics into one. And that is the reason why I tell you guys that you need to be versed on all the topics. Long gone are the days when you say, okay, you study 1 and 2 topics, and then you say, okay, well, at least I know these topics to go into the exam. You have to prepare holistically. You understand? Comprehensively, because they are combining topics. All right. So standing order, we see that C would be the standing order, right? So this would be the standing order. Remember that a standing order is when you give the bank permission, right, to make payments on your behalf. So that's a standing order. So C, and then for direct, right, would be the direct deposit because money is coming out of your account, right? Yeah. All right, so moving on. So that's 2 marks, a very simple thing. All right. And then we have the next part of that question. It says prepare the updated receipts and payments account to show the updated cash at bank figure, right? For the Surrey Youth and Sports Club at the 1st of May 2022, right? Begin with your closing cash balance calculated from the receipts and payments account from in part A, right? So the closing cash balance would have been here, 3,695. That is what they said that you should start with, right? So we are now updating the receipts and payment. Just like when you're updating a cash book in bank reconciliation, it's the same. You're updating a receipts and payments account. And I can tell you, when a teacher is teaching receipts and payments, they won't teach you this, right? So CXC is trying to test your ability to apply and to transfer your knowledge. So it is important that you bear that in mind, right? So a teacher won't teach you this. So you're going to an exam and you see this, you'll be like, well, teacher never teach me this, teacher never teach me how to update receipts and payments account, but teacher teach you how to update a cash book, right? So it's the same principles that would apply. So you would insert the information that was left out. So you put in the opening balance there, right? There was a credit transfer of $200, right? This is it. This is credit transfer. So you would put it on the debit side. And then all the other payments you would put on the credit side. So the standing order that we identify, it would go on the credit side. There was a dishonored check, right? There was a dishonored check for $430. This is right here. See it here? That would also go on the credit side, right? Bank charges would go on the credit side, and there was an error, right? Now, this error, the last one, there is no figure there. F, there is no figure here, right? So you may ask how I got the 270, right? So it says that a check for $740, it was issued to Escarta for catering services. But what was actually recorded was $470. You get what I'm saying? So you basically underpay. And this is a skill that comes out in correction of errors. So it's actually an error of original entry, right? So you would need to find the difference between 740, find the difference between 740 and the 470, right? That difference would be 270. So you would put that in your receipts and payments as a payment because you need to pay that now, right? Because you had paid it, you had paid short, all right? So you balance off your receipts and payments account. This is pretty simple still, right? But it takes a lot of analysis, all right? And then we move on to the last part of the question now, right? They're asking us to prepare a bank reconciliation statement, right, for the club. They ask us to start with the updated cash book balance, right? So the updated cash book balance, which is this, 2,525. Now, I want you to realize something, that if you make a mistake in a question like this, right, because you have to be using balances from previous workout that you did, right? If you make a mistake from the beginning, then you're going to basically jeopardize everything that you're doing in the question. So that's the danger of questions like these, right? Because they are linked. All the different sections are linked, all right? So you start with a balance as per receipts and payments account, or you can say updated cash book, right? But because I ask for receipts and payments and it's receipts and payments, we're not going to use the cash book term. And then you're going to list the check that was recorded twice. You may say, sir, which check that was recorded twice? You have to go all the way back right here. Part B, right? It says check was recorded twice, right? So you have to now subtract that, right? And then you'll get your balance as per bank statement, right? And you may be wondering, where have I seen this figure before? I made a mistake and write 2,900, right? I had added these two figures instead of subtracted, but I just corrected it. I realized my error and corrected it, right? You may ask, where have I seen this figure before? 2,125, right? Let me show you where you have seen it before. You have seen it here. Remember that when you are doing bank reconciliation statement, if you are given the bank statement balance, right, you can check if your bank reconciliation statement is correct, right, if you end up back with your bank statement balance. So I know that my bank reconciliation statement is correct. And yeah, it's 3 marks, 3 easy marks, 1, 2, 3, right? Sorry, 1, the heading is 1, and this is 2, this is 3. You know that they're not going to give you the mark for these two, right? Yeah, and that's how you get the 20 marks, all right? So my analysis of this question, this is a very interesting question. It's a weird question. I can understand why students would have struggled with this question because it calls on your ability to analyze, right? Out of 10, in terms of difficulty, I would give this question, I would say maybe a 8, right? I'd say 8, because of the high analysis expectation of this question. All right. Stay tuned for question 3. Right. See you in the next one. All right. Remember to like the videos, guys. Subscribe and share. All right. Cool. Wow, good.